Paul here. I'm visiting with Leanne and Gary Day in Toowoomba in their new home. And Leanne and Gary are really miracles. They've just moved from Hervey Bay and we see some wonderful things happening in their life despite all the naysayers and the diagnosis. I'll let Leanne tell us about it.
Right, well, where to start? I guess it must have been quite a few months ago now. We were living in Hervey Bay, and of course Gary's got stage 4 prostate cancer and was never meant to still be alive, but here he is. It's spread right throughout his bones, and that was in 2018. He had extensive cancer throughout his bones then. And so as the years have gone by, we've been able to continue with our music ministry, travelling around right up until about mid last year, 2021, when we weren't able to continue after that. But we had many interesting and exciting times with churches and people throughout Queensland that we were able to visit. And it came a time when Gary thought that perhaps we should move from our home at Hervey Bay to be closer to my family here in Toowoomba, but I didn't feel that it was a very good time. His health was deteriorating at that stage. But I said to God, I felt prompted that perhaps it might be a time to move at one stage, even though I was quite happy in our house at Hervey Bay and felt that I could stay there for another 10 years or so. But I got some promptings and I thought, well, God, if you want us to move, then you'll need to get Gary to mention it again to me, and then I'll know that that's from you. And so the next day Gary said to me, have you thought again about moving to Toowoomba? And I said, well, funnily enough, I did wonder. And he said, well, I've been wondering too. And so that started a chain of events. We came to Toowoomba and we knew that we wanted to move to Palm Lake here at Toowoomba. There were 3 homes available for us to look at, and we looked at the first 2 and then we walked into this one that we're in now, and we just knew straight away that this was the one that God had chosen. So we put a deposit on that and went back home and put our house on the market. And again, I said to God, well, you know, if this is meant to be your will, and I mentioned an amount to him that we would have to, I thought, get for it to be confirmed that this was really a move from him. Well, not only did we get that, but we got $100,000 more than that. And so that was just God, I think, prompting us that, yes, this is the right thing to do. And so it was on the market for 6 days on the internet and sold to a cash buyer in that time. And here we are. Gary's had a few ups and downs since we've been here, but I'll let him tell you a little bit about the episode that we had a few weeks ago. If you like.
Yeah, well, probably about 6 to 8 weeks ago, my medication controlling the pain was not as effective as what it had been, and I did have an episode one night where I had vomiting and diarrhoea, and I rang the GP in the morning. He suggested we call the ambulance, and I spent over 5 hours up there, and they solved that problem. But we were hoping that the palliative care people might be able to get to see me too, but the paperwork had not come down from Hervey Bay, and they knew nothing of me, so that didn't happen. And but over that weekend, that was a Friday, and over the weekend, I was really in a bad way pain-wise, and Leanne was going through all the medications that we had here, and nothing was seeming to work. But she sent off an email to palliative care, and they called her fairly early on the Monday, and a bit of a discussion going on, and Leanne happened to mention that I'm on a white card, I'm ex-Air Force, and would there be any possibility to get me into a private hospital? Anyway, palliative care said they'd get back, and 20 minutes later I was booked in to go into hospital. And that was a bit of a rough week in a way. I had a pump in my stomach, which was pumping drugs into me consistently 24 hours a day. And I saw people where children had been scribbling on the ceiling, and then I saw a group of guys coming out for a football game, and it was only when my wife and my brother, who was visiting us, was that they're not real, that I realised I must have been hallucinating. And of course the drugs were pretty potent. Anyway, they got the drugs under control, and I came home, and things were still a bit rough for a while, and it took a few weeks to settle down, and I was having to use a walk around to get around the house even. But probably two weeks ago I was able to put the walker aside, and I'm walking around the house. I'm not flying around the house with any speed, but I am getting around. But if you're looking at me, you'll probably notice I'm a bit on the thin side. I've lost over 20 kg in probably the last 6 months, I guess. And I put on 3 kg in the last month, so the new drugs have probably helped my appetite, because I had no appetite and I wasn't really eating. And I often jokingly say that I'm down to this weight now. I used to run marathons, and I'm even lighter than my marathon weight, but I'm light enough now to be a jockey. Only thing is I don't know what I'd do if I want to pull the horse up, because I wouldn't have the strength to do it. These puny arms wouldn't pull the skin off the custard. So it's not all bad, and the way I'm going at the moment, I'm streets ahead of where I've been. Still tired. Even have trouble talking. You probably notice I'm stumbling over my words a bit, and that's part of the influence of the drugs as well. So I just thought I'd give you a bit of an update on where I am, and it's not all bad. It's pretty good, really. And once I leave this world, I'm heading to a better one, and can't beat that.
And we just praise God too, because he really, he's a miracle man. He really is a miracle man, aren't you?
We pray for you.